Being that we are now less than a month out from the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, I think it's about time that we start talking about what games and accessories you should be picking up on day one if you've already got your pre-order or if you managed to find one in a store on launch day. Now, obviously, some of these are going to change just based on the availability of these items at each individual storefront. Some things you might be able to get your hands on, other things you may not be able to get your hands on. I would imagine certain accessories may go out of stock, but games, I would imagine games are going to be on the shelves, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about the games we talk about here, but accessories and the console itself might be a little difficult to get your hands on. First and foremost, we got to talk about the console themselves. There is the base console that does not come with Mario Kart World, and then there is the bundle that does come with Mario Kart World. The Mario Kart World bundle is limited. It said the production of this is going to end in the fall of 2025. However, I would speculate that this console is actually going to come back into the market probably around the holidays every year. This will probably be just like with the Switch being bundled with Mario Kart 8 every holiday season. We'll likely see Mario Kart World bundled with the Switch 2 every holiday season. But as far as day one pickups go, this is the bundle that I have pre-ordered. I have one pre-ordered at Walmart. I have one pre-ordered at GameStop. This is the bundle that I am getting my hands on because if you're not a fan of the $80 Mario Kart World, this knocks $30 off that price tag. It is a digital copy of the game, so if you care about physical, that is a bit problematic, but you can get Mario Kart World at a $30 discount, which is fantastic. But if you're not super interested in Mario Kart, you're just interested in getting a Nintendo Switch, or maybe you want the physical edition of Mario Kart, the base Nintendo Switch model is going to be available. It seems for the launch of the system that the base model was produced less and the bundle was produced at a higher volume. So there's more of the bundles in the wild than there were of the base model. We don't know what stock is going to look like on day one for these particular systems, but I'd imagine that many stores will have them, so you'll want to keep your eye out on availability online as well as in store for these particular systems. But moving on from the console itself, everybody knows which console they're likely going to be going for on day one. We need to talk about the accessories that you can look forward to with this particular system. First and foremost, I have the Switch 2 Pro controller. This is actually something I am looking forward to quite a bit. I am going to try and get my hands on one. I did not pre-order one, but I think that the availability is going to be fine because I was at GameStop the other day and they said they still had pre-orders available for this and a couple other of the Switch 2 accessories. So I think I'll be able to pick one up when I pick up my bundle at midnight for the Switch 2. So I'm going to get my hands on this. This is definitely an improvement over the original Pro controller, and that says a lot because I'm a big fan of the original Pro controller. I really like this controller. It's one of my favorite controllers I've ever played games with. The feel in the hand is fantastic. It fits so nicely. The buttons are nice and reactive. The D-pad is about the only thing that I think could use some work. The D-pad just kind of feels a little lackluster. It's kind of squishy rather than clicky. I prefer a clicky D-pad, much like you get on like an Xbox controller. But other than that, this is a fantastic controller, but the new controller has a lot of improvements. So the big thing with the new controller is the fact that it does have the C button. This is basically just there for you to be able to activate the voice controls, at least as it seems right now. You get to activate the voice controls for the voice chat features on the Switch 2 with this button. A lot of people are saying this is, you have to pay to use the button, but I disagree because the button just doesn't do anything if you don't have Switch Online, so it doesn't really matter if it's there or not. You're not really paying for the addition of that particular button. You're paying for the other features that this controller has. First and foremost, it charges twice as fast as the current Pro controller, which is fantastic, and it has 40 hours of battery life. Like, I rarely have to charge my current Pro controller, so if this runs the exact same and charges twice as fast, that's fantastic. But overall, I'm not sure how the D-pad looks. I'll be honest, the D-pad, I haven't seen many reviews online from people that went hands-on with this controller, but it seems like it's going to be squishy again and not as clicky as I'm looking for. The highlight really is the headphone jack that is now available on this, so you can now plug in a microphone and a headset to the Switch 2 controller, which I think is fantastic. It's something I'm really looking forward to. The last controller did not have this function, so I'm really keen on that. But also, this controller comes with 2 reprogrammable buttons on the back, so you have a couple extra bumpers that you can program to anything on the Switch controller to make gameplay a bit easier, which I am a huge fan of. I love controllers like this. I love my Xbox Pro controller that I have, so this is just a huge addition for a base model controller that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, it still has built-in amiibo functionality, the capture button we just talked about. So all in all, it looks like a very nice upgrade to the current Pro controller, which I am a huge fan of. So if this feels the same and has just the additional functions, I'm all over this. However, if you're not keen on getting the Pro controller, maybe you don't want to spend the money on it, whatever, but you're looking for a more traditional controller experience, I would definitely recommend the Joy-Con charging grip. This is essentially the same piece of plastic that comes in the box. However, there is a bit of tech inside the middle console here that you click the Joy-Cons into, and this is going to allow you to charge the Joy-Cons with a USB-C cable while you are using this controller. So I definitely think this is a worthwhile pickup if you're not interested in the Pro controller, simply for the fact that you can plug this in and continue using it when the Joy-Cons go dead. So I really like this particular thing. I think it's going for, like, I think GameStop has their own variation that's $25, and the official Nintendo Switch 2 one that Nintendo's putting out is available for $40. I recommend picking up either or for the Nintendo Switch if you're not looking to get your hands on the Pro controller. As far as the Joy-Con straps go, you could take it or leave it. You don't really necessarily need the Joy-Con straps. This is mainly for if you're playing games more handheld, looking at things like Mario Party so you don't throw the Joy-Con around the room, looking at other things like Switch Sports. Not something you necessarily need, but definitely nice to have. The Joy-Con steering wheels, I've never been a fan of how Mario Kart played on the original Switch with the gyro control, so for me, this is more gimmicky and not something I'm really all that interested in picking up. But if you are someone that enjoys the gyro controls for Mario Kart, this is something that you can get your hands on. Again, not something I'm super keen on. I prefer playing Mario Kart with a controller, but it's there if you're interested in it. Now, the next one on the list is a bit interesting. It's kind of been something that has been a little bit divisive as far as, do people want it, do people not want it? I think I'm actually going to try and pick one up on launch night for this, and it seems like my GameStop also has this in stock, and that is the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Now, they've shown this off a fair bit either at the live demos or in the trailers coming up for the Switch. The camera is a really nice new function that pairs with Mario Party and functions in that way. There's some use cases for it in Mario Kart where it captures your face and green screens out the background and people can see your reactions while you're playing Mario Kart. It works with the voice chat functionality, so your friends can actually see you while you're voice chatting. So there's a lot of cool functions with this particular camera. And admittedly, the quality of this camera is not super fantastic. I think it's 1080p, but it's like a really low quality 1080p camera. But worth noting, if you're interested in getting a camera for your Nintendo Switch 2, any Type-C webcam will work with the Switch 2, which is incredibly nice for those that maybe want to pick up a cheaper variation of a camera to work with the Nintendo Switch. We are unsure as of right now what functions a off-brand Type-C camera is actually going to be able to do with the Nintendo Switch 2, if all the same functions are going to be there, or if there's specific OS features that are tied to this particular camera that Nintendo's pushing out. So it's unclear right now what the limitations are going to be if you use a different camera, but it's worth noting you can use a different camera with a Type-C port for the Nintendo Switch 2. So this is something that not everybody necessarily needs, but if you're interested in trying out the different functions, it could be pretty cool. So for me, I'm going to be trying this out and seeing what this is all about. You can pick up an additional dock. This is kind of important for people that are moving their console from room to room and don't necessarily want to unhook everything. I personally, I'm just going to wait till I get a second Nintendo Switch 2 for myself and be able to move my switches around that way. So I already have an additional dock because I have two Nintendo Switch 2, but right now, if you're interested in having that, they do have a standalone dock that you can pick up, but not necessary by any means. Now, this one I do think is fairly necessary. Either the big all-in-one carrying kit that can take your dock and everything on the go, or just the standard carrying case. I think having some sort of protective case for your Nintendo Switch is super key. Also being a screen protector. And screen protectors are something you don't have to wait to get. I've already got my hands on a screen protector for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's tempered glass and it's just sitting here waiting for launch day. I've already got this in hand. Another thing you don't necessarily have to wait to get your hands on is the micro SD express cards that you can use in the Nintendo Switch 2 to boost the internal storage space. And a lot of people may think about waiting because the new Switch is going to have 256 gigabytes internal storage. However, with the new game key cards and everything that is coming with the Switch 2, you may burn through that space pretty quickly, especially if you're playing a lot of digital games, looking at things like Fortnite and a lot of the other free games that are already available on the Switch. If you're looking to play a lot of those games, you may want to just go immediately for an upgraded SD card for this new system. Again, these are the express cards. The base micro SD cards that are available that worked on the original Nintendo Switch will not work on the Switch 2. So that is something you need to be aware of. You're going to have to pick up the express SD cards. And these are available. You can get them through Nintendo. You can get them through a bunch of different providers. You can order them on Amazon, whatever the case may be. For a terabyte, it is going to run you $100. I believe for the 256 gigabyte express cards, these are going for about $50 to $60 depending on the retailer, which I think $50 to $60 is reasonable, especially if you're not playing a lot of digital games. Definitely worth picking up. Just doubling your internal storage space is fantastic. So for me, I think I'm going to end up picking up a terabyte. For most people, I think the 256 is going to be just fine, especially if you're not looking to play a ton of games initially on the Switch 2. The next accessory I have is a third-party accessory, and these are called Satisfy grips. I am a huge fan of these. I have one for my OLED Switch currently that I use pretty much every time I play the system handheld. I have used a handful of different grips for my Nintendo Switch OLED that have been nice, but nothing has felt quite as nice as the Satisfy grip. It has these little rubber backings on the sides and on the back of the actual grip, and this prevents any scratching or dings on your Switch. It slides right in, you're able to pull it back out, and there's no damage to your Switch with this thing. It's just incredibly comfortable, gives it more of a controller feel while playing handheld, and the Switch 2 variation is coming out. And this is not a sponsored bit by any means. It's just a product that I actually really like and plan to, well, I've already pre-ordered the next version for the Switch 2, and they have updated the design for the Switch 2. This is actually, it works the same way as it clicks in and you're able to play handheld with the controller feel, but this new design is actually dockable. You can just slide the whole thing into the dock, so that way you don't have to constantly be taking the grip on and off, which is nice because these also come, you can order them with a carrying case that fits the grip with the Switch in it, and it has some slots for game cards and stuff. So they have their own carrying case for this particular grip that I find to be very nice. And the standalone grip is $50 and the bundle is $70. So honestly, I'd recommend just getting a bundle if you're interested in this. It comes with the carrying case and the grip. Fantastic design, fantastic use case for this particular grip. I really like this product. Again, not sponsored, just something I'm personally a big fan of, and highly recommend if you play a lot of handheld for your Switch. But I feel like that covers the accessories that you're going to be able to utilize and get the most out of on launch day for your Switch 2. I want to talk about the games though, because there are some games coming out on day one that I think are worth picking up. So first and foremost, Mario Kart World. If you're getting the bundle, this is already going to be tied in, not something that you have to be actively going out and buying. If you've got the bundle on pre-order, if you pick up a bundle day one, you don't got to worry about Mario Kart World. But I think this is pretty much the must-have game when the Switch 2 launches. If you don't like the $80 price tag, don't buy it. It's as simple as that. But if you like Mario Kart, I think this is a necessity day one. As far as the upgrades go, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will have their Switch 2 Enhanced Edition upgrades available day one for the Switch 2. If you already have the NSO Plus membership that gives you access to all the other goodies in NSO, you get these upgrades for free. You don't have to worry about picking them up. Otherwise, they are a $10 upgrade if you already have the games on Switch and want to upgrade them. They are a $10 upgrade. I will be getting these for sure. Bravely Default Flying Fairy is an HD remaster that is coming to the Switch on launch. It is worth noting this is a $40 title, but the caveat is it is also a Switch game key card. So if you're not a fan of the game key cards, talk with your wallet. Do not buy this as a physical cartridge. Buy it digitally if that's what interests you, or don't buy it at all if you're really that mad about the game key cards. Split Fiction is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. It is also worth noting that this is not even a game key card. This is a code in a box. So if you're planning to pick this one up, I would recommend picking it up digitally. I don't mind the game key cards. I don't like code in boxes. So I would definitely recommend picking this one up as a digital option. If you do pick it up digitally, you get an additional game code that you can give to a friend so that way you can play this game, because it is a co-op game that requires another person to play. So they do give you a free game code to give to somebody else to play the game with them, which is huge because it's just extremely consumer friendly. And you can also game share this game to another Nintendo Switch 2 or to the base Nintendo Switch to play with a co-op partner. So very, very solid entry title. It is disappointing that it is a code in the box. I think that was a publisher decision, not a developer decision. So don't shame them too much. I've heard fantastic things about this game. I definitely recommend picking this game up, but I would just pick up the digital version of this particular game. As far as day one games go that I think you should pick up physically, it is Cyberpunk 2077. I don't even care if you don't like Cyberpunk. I think you need to pick this game up physically. The reason I say this is because so many people, and whether you don't care about game key cards, if you do care about game key cards, I had another video talking about the game key card specifically, that a lot of people just don't like them, and understandably so. I can totally understand the sentiment of not liking the game key cards. If you don't like the game key cards, you need to be buying Cyberpunk 2077 as a physical game day one. The reason for that is CD Projekt Red took it upon themselves to get the biggest Switch cartridge available, the 64GB Switch cartridge, and the entire Cyberpunk game and DLC is on that cartridge. There is no download required for this game to be playable on the Nintendo Switch. You put the card in and you could play right away. And if you don't like game key cards and you don't pick this game up, I really don't understand what you're supporting at this point. This game is a must-have if you do not like game key cards. This game is just the market showing that there is people out there who want games on the cartridge, and that is why I have this game on my PlayStation. I have this game on my Xbox. You can buy it cheaper on sale. I don't care. I'm going to support this game on the Nintendo Switch because the entire game is on that physical cartridge. I have this pre-ordered at GameStop. It is paid off. It is ready to rock and roll for launch day for me. I am over the moon that CD Projekt Red took it upon themselves to do this, and they're probably doing it at a loss. They're probably not making much to any money on this particular port because of that particular factor. The fact that they put it all on the cartridge means they're probably making minimal profit margins on this particular game. So we need to support developers that are putting these games all on the cartridge. Hogwarts Legacy. If you are into the Hogwarts Legacy game, it is worth noting that this game did come out on the Nintendo Switch. There is not an upgrade version. You have to buy the entire Switch 2 version again to play Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch 2. There is no $10 upgrade path with other games like Zelda or Civilization, which is already available on the current Nintendo Switch. This does have a $10 upgrade to the Switch 2 version, so you can get the Switch 2 version for a $10 upgrade on launch day. Hogwarts Legacy is not offering that. They had to build this game from the ground up from what the developers are saying for the Switch 2 version, and they are not offering players that already have a physical version or a digital version of Hogwarts Legacy on the original Nintendo Switch an upgrade path. So you have to spend the full retail price again for Hogwarts Legacy. So take that for what you will. If you want to buy it, go ahead. I believe this one is a game key card though, so definitely something to keep your eye on. Fortnite is coming. They're calling it a launch title. I think this is just a rebuilt version of the Fortnite that is on the Switch currently. It's probably a port from PlayStation or Xbox. The Switch version that is currently available does not function well. It does not run very well at all, so they're probably just rebooting as a Switch 2 version to allow players to play at higher fidelity, better frame rate, etc. Fortnite's great. It's available at launch. It's free. There's no reason really not to pick up this game. Fast Fusion is available as a launch title. This is a digital-only game. Worth noting, digital-only, but this game is a futuristic racing game that looks really cool. Honestly, it looks really cool. It's got some F-Zero style to it. This is $15 at launch. So if you're looking for a fun racer with fantastic looking graphics day one, this is definitely something I would recommend picking up for $15. That's kind of a steal of a deal. Sonic X Shadow Generations is another one that is coming on launch day to the Nintendo Switch 2. However, Sega is not providing us a way to upgrade from the version that is available on the base Nintendo Switch. You have to buy the full version, just like Hogwarts Legacy, all over again on the Switch 2. So keep that in mind when this launches on Switch 2. If you already have the Switch version, you're going to have to pay full retail price for this again. Not very consumer friendly on Sega's part, but just something to note. So those are the games, accessories, and console specifics I think you should consider when going to get a Switch 2 on launch day. This is a very exciting launch. There are some games that are worth picking up. You maybe have to weigh the pros and cons of some others that we talked about here, especially looking at Hogwarts Legacy and Sonic X Shadow Generations, because those games do require a full purchase if you already have the game. Like I have Hogwarts Legacy on my Switch, and if you already have that game, then you have to buy it all over again. So definitely something to keep in mind. There are other games coming up, obviously, like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Those games are coming later down the line, which is why we didn't talk about them specifically in this particular video. We are worried about what you can do on your system on day one. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you plan to pick up for your Nintendo Switch 2 on launch day. I will have everything linked in the description below so you can check out the different games and stuff, so that way you can go to the different resources like the Satisfy stuff and everything like that if you're interested in pre-ordering any of this stuff for yourself. Like, comment, and sub. It helps me out, helps the channel out, helps video out immensely, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.